Hello Jérôme.
Ça va?
Oui, ça va. Est-ce que vous avez une présentation ou ça va être...
C'est que moi. C'est que moi.
D'accord, super.
Par contre, comment
Oui.
on fait pour changer le background? On peut sur Cisco ou pas?
Good question. Je pense
Je-
que oui. Je pense que oui. Enfin, je l'ai jamais fait. Ouais, en même temps, je me mets rarement sur le devant de la scène. Sinon, je peux mettre votre stand, par exemple, ou une image du domaine. Alors, attends. Comment on fait? Bonne question.
Ouais, je trouve pas.
Vous avez un account ou vous avez créé un account ou c'est juste un
Non, je
invité?
suis juste en invité là.
Ah, ah.
Mm.
Ah, ah. Non, honnêtement, je ne sais pas. Et je sais que Pascal, tout le monde le fait, mais je vais leur poser la question. Je vais rapidement googler. So, background on Cisco. You can change your background after you join. So, click background and then do one of the following. To blur your surroundings while remaining in focus.
Ah, peut-être en haut, en haut. Je suis pas allé dans la barre de
Change background and
file.
then.
You-
Alors, on peut soit blur the background, mais là c'est joli votre librairie, la
Ouais.
bibliothèque avec les vins, c'est magnifique. Donc, moi, je pense que vous ne
You-
changez rien. Virtual background, click the one that you want. Yeah, but where?
Yeah, exact.
On sait bien
File.
comment il faut faire, mais. Alors, attendez.
Edit. View, share, no view. Panels, no. Ah, thème, no. Ah, change virtual background.
Yeah.
Let's see. And. But I want my picture.
On desktop. On Mac or on Windows, change background and then, yeah, and ¿dónde?
Ah, plus. I think. Here we go. Desktop. And I'm going to. Here we go.
C'est bon? Ah ben moi, j'ai pas trouvé. Mais bon, en même temps, moi, je me mets. C'est parce que si je mettais ma caméra, à mon avis, il me dirait ah, nice! Yay! On s'y croirait. Mais sinon, votre livret, votre bookcase avec les bouteilles, c'était bien aussi, hein.
Ouais. Je vais voir si. Tac, j'en ai une autre. Comment se passent les salons pour vous?
Bastide. J'ai à peine eu le temps d'aller chercher mon deuxième café. Non, mais c'est bien, c'est bien. Sinon, voilà, je pense que les participants, il y a moins de pas désagréable, mais la première fois, il y avait beaucoup de gens qui n'étaient pas très qualifiés, tandis que là, je pense qu'on a on a plus d'acheteurs qui sont qualifiés. Je veux dire,
Mhm.
c'est l'impression. Et puis, j'ai demandé à la fille de nous envoyer une statistique de mi-salon, de moitié de salon.
Mhm.
Donc, je vais récupérer ça et puis je pense qu'on pourra faire un petit rapport. Alors, est-ce qu'elle l'a envoyé? Non, elle l'a pas encore envoyé. Mais on lui a demandé de nous passer un petit rapport. Et pour vous, votre stand? Attendez, je vais aller voir.
Ça va, j'ai eu deux demandes pour l'instant. Un pour les US et un agent qui fait un petit peu tous les
Ouais.
pays. Donc,
Alors, un tip, c'est que si vous êtes connecté au salon,
ouais.
vous apparaissez en premier dans les
Mhm.
All Exhibitors. Donc, vous remontez si vous êtes éteint, ça va être plus difficile de vous trouver parce que c'est les
Tout à fait,
allumés
c'est
qui
ça.
passent.
Ouais.
Donc, ça, si vous avez une tablette ou quelque chose à côté où vous pouvez vous connecter par là, et comme ça, vous le laissez en open house.
Ouais. Dis-moi là que là tu me vois background, c'est bon, c'est la mer, c'est
Oui,
les. Ouais.
Oui, 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 oui. Alors
Ok,
attends,
parce que moi,
non, non, mais je vais enlever le stop sharing. I don't
Ah,
have
voilà, c'est pour ça.
anything to
Ok.
share. Voilà. Non, non, c'est moi qui avais voilà. 8h54, on a quelques minutes. Je vais faire un petit
Ouais,
banner pour le rappeler.
ouais, c'est bien ça aussi, les banners.
Oui, hein, ça sert à,
Ouais, ouais.
ça rappelle, hein, ça rappelle, nanana, nanana. Pareil, si moi j'ai fait des messages, alors attends, pour, euh, pour Château Léoube, j'avais fait quelques messages, donc je vais te les passer par ici, en privé. Donc ça, c'en est un. Bah, évidemment, il y a les codes avec les emojis et tout ça, mais si tu as des choses que tu voudrais qu'on précise ou des offres ou quelque chose, tout ça, c'est ce qui est programmé uniquement avec la visite de ton stand.
Mhm, ok. Donc ça, si, c'est lié. Et c'est
Ça,
qui
c'est les
envoie ça?
banners. Ça, c'est
Banner, ouais.
programmé.
Voilà,
Elles sont
voilà, ouais.
programmées. Alors, je vais recommencer pour la première parce que moi, je les mettais en horaire Eastern Time. Et en fait, au bout de, je sais pas, du 50e message, j'ai dit merde, si ça se trouve, parce que je faisais des essais, j'ai dit mais ça marche. Et j'ai dit mince, c'est parce que la plateforme est en horaire français. Ah, j'ai dit
Ah,
ben,
d'accord.
recommence tout ma cocotte, donc j'ai dû recommencer. Mais les premiers, je pense qu'ils sont partis en. Bon, le prestataire a pris le relais,
Mhm,
il les a modifiés, mais en fait, tous les autres, il faut que je recommence avec les horaires français, donc avec les petites conversions et
mhm,
les remettre. Mais voilà, c'est ça qui est programmé pour. Je n'ai pas réinventé l'eau chaude, hein, j'ai repris votre présentation et pris les points
mhm. Ouais, c'est
clés.
non, c'est bon. Ouais. Ouais.
Voilà. Ok, donc ça, et puis évidemment, il y a aussi les banners des présentations. Donc attends, je vais en faire une là maintenant. On a 3 minutes, so, Côte de Provence. Attends, je vais mettre le mute pour pas t'agacer avec mon clavier. So welcome everybody. Hello Jérôme. Hello everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So we have Jérôme Pernot from Château Léoube who will present the wine estate, which is in a wonderful location in southern France. So Jérôme, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I can see some names already. I kind of know we've been chatting. Michel, nice to virtually meet you. Caroline, I think you are a winemaker, and surely some other will join in a minute. So yeah, Jérôme Pernot. Nothing to do with the spirit Pernod, but it's my name, family name. And I'm going to introduce you to Provence in general, what it's all about in Provence, and what's so special about Léoube and the wine making process of rosé, which is important to understand because too many people think it's damned easy to make a quality rosé, which is not at all. If anyone wants to ask a question, just unmute yourself and ask me a question anytime. I'll be very, very happy to answer. I think we have 45 minutes. Is that right, APVSA? 45 minutes?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll try to be as much as I can keeping those because I'm too enthusiastic when I speak about Léoube and I can speak for hours. So I'll try to be good. So let's talk about Provence overall before Léoube. Provence, it's a big wine region. If you look at the map in the south of France, it starts on the west of Cannes, and on the east of Marseille. It's about over 200 kilometers long alongside the coast, going inland about 50 kilometers up to Avignon. So it's a big wine region called Provence, which is divided into three sub-appellations. So you've got the appellation Côte de Provence, which is the main one. You've got a smaller one, Coteaux d'Aix-en-Provence, sorry, and the third one, Coteaux du Varois. So Côte de Provence will be more in the south, next to the sea. And then if you go a little bit higher, you will have Coteaux d'Aix and Coteaux du Varois en Provence. So it's quite unique to have three appellations within one region such as. And obviously that means there is a hell of a lot of wineries. It's over 623 wineries in Provence within the three appellations. And that is without the brokers or the cooperative, which are over 100. So there is a lots of people making rosé in Provence. To give you an idea, and it's all 96% of the wines made in those appellations are under the appellation Côte de Provence. They are not IGP. So that's important to know as well. So 96% making wines under an appellation. That represents over 175 million bottles of rosé made every year. So it's quite interesting to see that region produce a lot of rosé, which is about 85% of the production. The rest will be reds and white and a bit of sparkling. People don't know as well that Provence is the oldest wine region in France. We're talking 2,500 years ago with the Greek, with the Romans starting to plant vines around Marseille, the Phocéa area. So before Bordeaux, before Burgundy, before Jura, before anything else, wine production started in the south of France, in Provence. So we are very proud of it. As well, Provence, like I said, is well known for rosé making, and there is a reason behind it, a few reasons. Who is right, who is wrong, who knows? But basically, first of all, it's very important to understand the climate. You know, we are not in inland. We are by the sea in the south of France. So we have a hell of a lot of sunshine, over 3,000 hours of sunshine in Provence. If you compare to Paris, it's only half of it. So hot climate. The food as well, you know, we eat lots of light dishes, salads, Mediterranean food as we speak. So rosé is a very good wine matching with the type of food, and it's a lifestyle as well. You know, south of France, and especially at Léoube, it's all about having a good time, good food, good friends, good wines, and rosé is the perfect match to this lifestyle. We just don't drink rosé in the summer, we drink rosé all year round, and you can see that's happening everywhere in the world now. It's not just a summer rosé, and it does drink very well with food, which people don't know that either. We're not talking about sweet rosé. We produce rosé which are dry, elegant, and it goes very well with food. So that's the lifestyle. And in the old days, when we were making red wines, we didn't control the maceration such as. So the wines in the old days produced were not red, not rosé, they were halfway through. So it was a clear wine. And with the time, we decided to focus on the rosé making. And that leads to us as Chateau Léoube, which is a very old winery, new on the market, but new, very old winery. You can see the chateau behind me, built in the 15th century, so long history of winemaking at Léoube. But for many years and centuries, the wines produced were not distributed such as, so sold locally, but no distribution elsewhere in France, and even less on the export, of course. And what happened back in 1997, a British family, very involved with organic farming, sustainability, respect of the nature, decided to purchase Chateau Léoube and spend 10 years to renovate this gem, because nobody knew about it, but it was a real gem because of the location by the sea, and the terroir, the quality of the wines produced. And sadly, everything was falling apart. The previous owner was a bit, you know, didn't have the passion and the cash flow as well to maintain that. And we spent 10 years to renovate the chateau, of course, but as well the vineyards. So we have removed all the old vines, the damaged vines, plant new vines. And today we have 75 hectares of vines, 25 hectares of olive grove, out of a 560 hectares estate. We cannot plant more vines because it's all, it's a national park, it's protected. So we have 75 hectares of vines, which represent about 450,000 bottles of wines produced every year. And which is amazing. For the business, it's a bit sad because we cannot plant more vines, but it's amazing because it's all protected, and you can imagine 560 hectares with 4 kilometers of coastline, which are all dedicated to the nature. It's absolutely amazing and unique nowadays in the south of France. So we have two jobs. Our first job is to respect the biodiversity, to respect the nature, to nurture the nature of Léoube. And of course, with that beautiful land, we produce wine and olive grove. But today we focus on the wines. Everything is handmade at Léoube. We are certified organic. We have one cuvée, which is NOP as well for the US. Very much artisan. And like I said, we spent 10 years to bring back Léoube to its former glory. And we started the distribution back in 2008 on the French market, and in 2011 on the export. So fairly new. And this is why you will see on our stands the bottle, which are very minimalist. We didn't want to have a big label to hide the beautiful color of the wines. We wanted to create something new from its history. And a huge success. The reason we are here is because we want to develop the sales, of course. We are well distributed in UK, in some states in America, in some provinces in Canada, but we want to perform and we want to be more distributed. That's the main reason why I am here today, but to share this beautiful estate as well. On terms of rosé, if we speak just rosé today, on a rosé making of Léoube, it's interesting to see that there are 3 ways to make rosé wine, and believe me, it's not easy. It's actually, if you want to make premium rosé, it's a hell of a lot of work. It's a nightmare. It's more complicated. And at Léoube, we have a dedicated part of the winery, which is purely for rosé making. Then we have the red making on the other side. So we have split the wineries. So we have one side for the rosé and another side for the reds. And that gives you the idea of the intensity of work we need to do. On terms of winemaking, so 3 ways. Don't mix red and white and shake it. That doesn't work. There is another way, which is the rosé de macération. So basically, if you take some, let's say, Cabernet Sauvignon red grapes, we all know that when you press the grapes, you need to leave the skin fermenting, coloring the juice to give a red wine. So in that case, you start the maceration. So you press gently, you crush the grapes, and you leave the skin with the juice for about 24 hours, and you've got some rosé wine. That is a good way to make rosé, very conventional, but you may have a little bit of the tannins from the skin going to the juice. So we don't do that at Léoube. The second way to make rosé, and that's a term everybody knows, it's rosé de saignée, which is very used in Champagne. And the rosé de saignée, it's all about starting to make a red wine. So you make the maceration, so you have a tank, you want to make a red wine, but from the beginning, a few hours after the maceration, you're going to do a soutirage. So the clear juice, you're going to remove it from the tank. And then you're going to have 2 tanks, one with the skin. So you will have some juice left in the tank with the skin, and that will make red wine. And you remove at early stage the juice, and that goes into another tank. And that will make the rosé tank ferment, and you will ferment that tank as a rosé. And the third one, which is more complicated, but we believe it's give you the best quality juice. And as we know, to make quality wine, you need quality juice, which come from quality grapes. So it's a direct press. So what we do, and at Léoube, I'm going to go through all the stages because that's the process we do. So first of all, if we go back to the vineyards, everything is, like I said, handmade as much as we can in the vineyards. We are organic, so no pesticide, no chemicals, nothing, no weed killer. The weeds are actually removed or ate by the sheep. So we bring sheep in spring, so they graze all the weeds, and that clean all the vineyards. The pruning, the trimming, the debudding, the green harvest by hand, and of course the harvest by hand. And on terms of harvest at Léoube, we have local pickers. So the same team comes back at, let's say, 90%. The same teams come back every year. They are locals, they know us, and they know what we expect on terms of harvesting. We don't ask them to harvest as much as they can. We ask them to harvest the best grape possible. So if you have a bunch of grapes, they will look at all the berries and single berries one by one. And it can take up to 20, 30 seconds to do that per bench. And basically we tell them, you don't put your bunch of grapes in the bucket if you cannot eat yourself every single berry. That's the demand we are asking to the pickers. Then the grapes goes into their bucket, goes into the trailer. There is someone who's going to double check again each bucket going into the trailer, removing maybe some leaf or anything which could be damaged and the pickers forgot about it. Then the grapes arrived at the winery. We do very early harvest as well to avoid any oxidation when it's too hot. If by any chance the grapes arriving at the winery, let's say late morning, are too hot, we will put them into a refrigerator overnight. Then we'll do the pressing the next day. But the grapes arrive on the morning. They are slightly crushed. We keep the stem and it goes into the press, pneumatic press. The reason we keep the stem is to help the drainage of the juice. If you remove the stems, there is no space between the berries inside the press, which means you need to squeeze harder and give a lot of pressure so the juice gets extracted from the press. That means you will damage the skin, the seeds, and that will give you the tannins, and we want to avoid that. And by leaving the stem, you have gaps between all the berries. Obviously, we cannot press too much because you will damage the stem and your juice will be green in terms of aromas. So gentle press at 1 bar. 1 bar, you do it with your finger. I'm going to use a brand, an espresso machine everybody has at home now. The pressure to extract the coffee from the capsule is 9 bars. We put 1 bar, sometimes less, on the grapes to have this gentle pressure. And because we have gaps between the berries, the juice between 2.5 hours extracts a slight color from the skin, and that's it. We don't do a second press. There is no maceration. The clear juice coming from the press is what we have for the final product, and we know that will be the rosé wine. So we have this beautiful, amazing quality fresh juice. Then we're going to put it into a tank for first sediment clarification overnight and to cool down the juice. Then the next morning, it goes into the fermentation tank, stainless steel, and it's going to be a cold alcoholic fermentation at about 18 degrees Celsius. That will last for 2.5, 3 weeks. We don't add any yeast because we are organic and we have natural yeast on the skin and at the winery, natural alcoholic fermentation. And what is unique about Léoube is the following step. Conventional winery, and I don't say it's bad at all, but most of the wineries will add sulfite after the alcoholic fermentation to stabilize quickly the wines and be able to bottle the wines and put it on market as soon as they can. We are not doing that because we want our wines to be very gastronomic as well. And after the alcoholic fermentation, we keep the wines in stainless steel tank to go through the natural malolactic fermentation, full malolactic fermentation on the lees for a few months. Delicate process, especially with rosé, but we have an amazing winemaker called Romain Hott from the famous Hott family, and he works exclusively for Chateau Léoube, and he controls, even though it's hard to control malolactic fermentation, but he knows what to do. And the wines get extra flavors, gets much silkier on the palate, much creamier as well, more intensity of the flavor, but still very refreshing and elegant. So that means the wines get ready for blending arriving December. And you know that in December, some wineries are starting to bottle. We are only starting the blend. And after the blend, we're going to let the wine resting another 2 to 3 months until February for a natural stabilization before bottling. That means the only time we will add sulfite at Léoube, and because we are organic, first of all, we need to be below 100 milligrams per liter, but we will put way below that because the wines are already stable. We will put a little bit of sulfite at the bottling to make sure the wines travels very well, and they do travel very well because we sell up to Hawaii and to New Zealand, and the wines drink very, very well in all those places. So that's the 3 ways to make rosé. So like I said, rosé de saignée, rosé de macération, maceration, and the direct press, which is a more delicate, more complicated to do, and that's the one Léoube uses every year. And that gives some rosé from Léoube. Like I said, you keep the style of Provence. It's all about the red fruits, the stone fruits, a bit of white flower, all mixed together, the freshness, the good acidity. But we bring that extra layers of depth and body, and the length of the wines are absolutely amazing at Léoube, which make those wines, you know, if you have a boat to drink, you know, on aperitif from 11 on the morning with tapas or charcuterie or just salads, grilled fish, but you find the wines of Léoube as well on very white, not very, but on white tablecloth restaurant as well, up to Michelin star. So we are very fortunate to have wines which pleased a wide panel of consumer, from the one just want a good glass of rosé to the gastronomic people who want good wines to drink with their meal. So that's what's happening at Léoube. And you see on the background the location of Léoube, which is unique in Provence as well. Remember, I said over 620 wineries, and there are very few along the coast and so close to the sea. It is beautiful in pictures, but it does bring something unique. First of all, we have a microclimate. Sadly, you have heard in France a few months ago about the frost, and thanks to the sea, you know, this microclimate, we didn't have any frost at Léoube. We have the constant sea breeze as well. Like I said, you know, it's very hot in the summer, so the constant sea breeze cool down the vines during summer at night. So day very hot, night cooler, very good for the grapes. When there is a bit too much of humidity as well, we have that sea breeze which drives naturally the leaves. But as well, which is so unique of Léoube, is the soil. Because 800 million years ago, the sea was covering the soil behind me. And the sea has left its seabed. And there is no fossil, but it has left layers and layers of seabed, which became a slate called mica schist. And that gives all the minerality, the saltiness, the salinity, which you find in the wines. And that is a big difference for us in terms of style of wines versus what is made in Provence in general. That is the main key point of Léoube. Like I said, we focus on the rosé today, but talking Léoube, we do extremely good reds in the same way as well. The attention to details are very, very good for the reds and the white and the sparkling as well. We have 14 varieties, different cuvées at Léoube, and they are all made with the same care, with the same love for the nature. And as we know, if you respect the nature gives you something back, and we have those beautiful wines. On terms of distribution, we sell 50%, a little bit less on domestic market, and the rest on the export market. And the export market is growing dramatically. This year, the export is doing 125% up versus last year, which is amazing. You're going to say it's easy because last year we couldn't sell wine. Of course, it was difficult last year, but amazing reception of Léoube, which really, out of those 600 wineries are, and I don't say that because I'm part of Léoube, but you know, we are part of the 5 most recognized winery in Provence. Not on terms of volume, because we are very small compared to the competition, but on terms of storytelling, support we bring to the distributors and future distributors, and the quality of the wines. And that is very, very unique for us to have this recognition. And Fernand mentioned something last time, and I completely forgot, Pascal, if you want to remind me, we used the word last night, if you are listening to me. We have a community of Léoube, and you are part of a community. Once you try the Léoube wines, you become part of this community, which is all over the world. And, you know, I've got distributors, new distributors said, you know, what's your minimum order? I said, there is no minimum order. We start small and we grow together. We are not a brand, we are a family winery, and you become part of this family. And, you know, obviously starting to ship less than a pallet, you're losing money because you're not optimizing the shipment. And we know nowadays how complicated the shipments are. So, you know, mixed pallet or full pallet of one SKU works very well for us. And I know, you know, you will say, Dan, I should have brought 3 pallets or 4 pallets, because we know the success of Léoube in each market is phenomenal. It doesn't happen just by sitting. Of course, you know, we bring the support on site, and with some support from the beginning, a bit of, you know, free stock as well, to make sure your sales team can try the wines. And that's really important to know that I don't use the word brand for Léoube. We use the term family winery. And it's important to understand, which is a theme of today, you know, how we make rosé wine. Rosé wine are extremely complicated to make if you want to make quality. Same as red wine, you know, there is very good red wines or white wine or sparkling wine. I'm from Champagne, you know, it's the same with champagne. You have extremely good champagne, and you have green champagne, which, you know, burns you, goes to your head. And as soon as you want to make quality, you need to spend time in a vineyard. To give you an idea, we spend over 500, 600, 700 hours per hectares, and that reflects, of course, a little bit of price. You know, we are premium, you pay a little bit more. We are not crazy expensive, but compared to, we're not selling $12 retail bottle of rosé. You know, we sell, the first price will be $19.99, which is very affordable nowadays for Côte de Provence appellation. So we are not the lower level, we are premium, but the premium is made by the people working in the vineyards. No machine at all at Léoube. I don't say that using machine is bad at all, but we are not in that league. It's all by the people. And when you talk terroir at Léoube, it's not just the soil, you know, the dirt you have in your hand, but it's the dirt coming from the people working the vineyards. And we all know, you know, it's a year of work, of hard labor to bring those vines to life with a low yield, no chemicals, like I said, and it's a dedicated team who wants to bring Léoube to that community all over the world. We've got another 15 minutes, if I'm right. So if anyone has any question, please do ask. If not, I carry on with other topics from Léoube, but I'm giving you the chance before we hand up to go through any questions, or you can type the question on the chat, I think.
The chat, yes.
Yeah.
Do we have questions for Jérôme?
What states are you in the US, Michel? So we are in New York State, Florida, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maine, California, Hawaii. We have a few prospects, but not signed up yet. So like I said, we want to perform better in the States because I've got requests from consumer who's going to ask the wines to their wine shop. The wine shop will not necessarily know about Chateau Léoube, so they will reach us on internet, on the website. And I will say, well, sadly, one of the states, we don't have a distribution yet. Can you help? So we have quite a big of demands in even in Canada and all over the world of consumer who knows Léoube by word of mouth, but maybe because they have been in the south of France. And, you know, if you ask in Provence, which winery do you recommend to visit? People will definitely mention Léoube, because it's a beautiful winery to visit. Even though the chateau is private, the winery is open only on a few open days, but we have a beautiful wine shop, tasting room open all year round, all summer from 9 to 8 p.m. Free tasting, of course. We have an amazing restaurant on the beach as well. So Léoube is a real destination which spread its word all over the world. So that's the main states distributed. So we'll say East Coast, West Coast, Florida, but we want to go more inside. And where we are distributed, it's a real success. You know, we are not asking for all the distributors to take. We have 5 rosé, all the rosés, because that's when someone said, "Oh, I want to take everything." I don't like that, because we need to focus. First of all, you out of the 5 rosé, you know, if you take 2 or 3 to start with, it's already amazing, and that include one, and which is big nowadays. It's new. We are the first one in Provence to put Côte de Provence organic rosé into a can. It's on, you will see it on my booth in all the technical sheet, and that is new. Coming of nowhere, you know, we had the idea, what could we offer to our customers? And we said, well, rosé, it's fashion, of course, but cans are getting big, and let's do a premium rosé in can, and it's been a huge success. We keep having every 2 months, we need to go back to the people bottling or canning the wines for us. Any other question? Someone has his mic on, so if you want to go ahead. Nope. So
no questions so far.
Yeah, so I'm going to summary. I've been good today to keep it within the time. So Provence, big.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why the word love and not je t'aime?
Say it again.
The word love on the bottle?
Yeah, not je t'aime. We are international. Remember, we have British honor, and je t'aime could have worked, definitely, but because we are, even myself, you know, I spent a lot of time overseas. Despite my accent, you know, I think in English, I dream in English, and love was, you know, part of the story of being very international, and it works very, very well. That's why we put love. A question I always have as well is why Côte de Provence is so well known and makes the best rosé on the market. And I don't say that because I am French, but in Provence, every winemaker will harvest the best grapes to make their rosé. It doesn't mean that they will make their red or whites with second quality grapes, of course. The brand Je t'aime in rosé is already in use. I didn't know that, so we couldn't use the Je t'aime. But to go back to what I wanted to say as a conclusion, Côte de Provence still nowadays have the reputation to make the best, or to produce the best rosé on the market. Is because we use the best grapes to make rosé, which is fair. You know, if you go to Bordeaux, you're not going to ask a Grand Cru to compromise the production of their first growth red wine to make a rosé. So obviously they're going to focus on their quality grapes to make their red wine, which is, you know, that's where it's made for. And then they will make a rosé, but not necessarily using their top grapes to make the rosé. And in Provence, obviously, we do focus on rosé. So the main production is rosé. So we use the best grapes to make the rosé. And if you use the best produce to make best grapes to make a rosé, you have a good chance to have quality rosé versus rosé made from another region. And it's like, you know, a chef. If you give the best chef, you know, some frozen scallop and some hand-dyed Scottish scallops, you're going to cook them the same way. Obviously, one dish will be very juicy, lots of flavor, very tender, and we all know that the frozen scallops won't be as good. And it's the same with everything we produce in food. If you don't have the best fresh ingredient to do the finalized produce, you're not going to succeed. So to make the best of rosé wine, you need to use the best grapes which you produce. That is the key recipe for the Côte de Provence appellation. And we are all, I'm speaking for the Côte de Provence appellation, we are all very proud of it. And we want to remain that leading region in rosé. But exploring as well, we have huge demand. Nowadays, Provence is well known for the rosé and its quality. Provence wineries produce extremely good reds and white and sparkling, and we have more and more demands for that. So Provence was a little bit hidden for too long, I would say, but now Provence is a real region which become a real alternative when you go to a restaurant or when you go to your wine shop to buy a bottle from Provence compared to any other region. Either it's rosé, of course, you have a better chance to find a rosé from Provence, but red, white, and sparkling. So that's what I wanted to share with you, the rosé making, the quality of rosé making. And I really want to say that rosé, quality rosé, it's hard to make and you need to spend time, and it's not just by clicking your fingers that you're going to have a good bottle of rosé in front of you. And it's not because it's clear that it's like everything. It's not because it's clear that it's quality. You need to try your bottle of rosé because it could be clear and not so good, very cheap, and you can spend a bit more money and it's the same color, but you will see that it will be better. Or it could be the other way, you know, it could be clear and overpriced and clear and slightly cheaper, but the cheaper will be better than the most expensive. So like I said, you know, you need to try your bottle of wine, you need to try your bottle of rosé, and when you find the one you like, obviously, if you try a bottle of Léoube, you will stick with Léoube for all your life. Thank you very, very much, everybody. Come and visit me if you want this summer. Hopefully one day we'll be able to travel again. Like I said, you know, we have a beautiful restaurant on the beach with all the wines and the tasting room. It's a real destination. I forgot to mention, sorry. We know we are in Provence, but we are in a village called Bormes-les-Mimosas, which is, you can see a small island behind me. It's where the French president has its house as well for the summer, called the Fort de Bréjançon. So we are next to Fort de Bréjançon, and which is near Le Lavandou, near Hyères, near Toulon, near Saint-Tropez, which is the most well-known city out of which everybody knows all over the world. Exactly halfway, if we go further, between Nice and Marseille. That's it for me. I spent vacation there. Yes, of course, everybody spent vacation there.
Yes. Very nice vacation. Wonderful place.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I managed to share a bit of paradise
of your
from
passion.
Provence, and of course my passion.
You speak with a lot of passion, Jérôme, and we are contaminated by the passion of Léoube now.
Thank you so much, all.
Pascal, do you have questions? Anyone? Do you have questions for?
No, it was perfectly clear. I see.
Clear, huh?
I see. Oh, sorry. You heard me, huh? So I see he worked with one of the best professionals in Provence, Mr. Hott. The wine is organic. The bottles are beautiful. He is in the Quebec market. He's in Ontario. So I have only one question. What is the next step?
Next step, we're going to flood Canada with Léoube. Every province will be flooding with Léoube. And like I said, so we are on both east and west coast of the States. And we're going to create a big waves, 2 waves, which are going to flood and cover America as well. That's what we want to do. So we have wine. We are exploring to, like I said, we cannot plant at Léoube. We are exploring new estate as well, new areas to develop Léoube. So don't be scared of shortage of wines from Léoube. We supply, and we will make all the investments necessary to supply every country who wants Léoube. And if there is anyone watching this chat today from, I don't know, Mexico or Japan or anywhere else in the world, please do reach us, do reach me, because we want to be recognized in every country and every state and provinces in Canada and America.
Thank you, because you know it's hot here. For example, in Vancouver today it's 47 degrees.
So
we need rosé.
You need rosé.
Yes.
Air freight some rosé. No, we are organic, no air freight. I will come with my paddle.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.